3 playoff spots are up for grabs, and every match is do or die. Hello and welcome to the 8th and final week of VCT Americas, coming to you live from the Riot Games Arena here in Los Angeles, California. I'm Dash, joined at the desk by Mimi and Sean Garrish to kick off the final week of regular season play. And as we kick off our last week of the split, let's take a look at the standings, because not too much is certain, surprisingly still. A lot can happen here in the final week of play. Of course, there are going to be a few familiar names up top the table in Loud, Cloud9, NRG, all having clinched spots in the postseason. And then, of course, Leviathan, Evil Geniuses, and Furia currently rounding out that playoff picture. But again, a lot to be decided as 100 Thieves Sentinels just on the outside looking to get in.
That they are. And for all 5 of these teams, there is a chance to make it. For some, it's still kind of up in the air, relying on scenarios of other teams. But for those teams at 4-4 right now, that's really where the pressure lies, because this week is make or break for the entire rest of your season.
Yeah, it's do or die for a lot of these teams today. And the crazy thing is NRG, one of those teams that locked, gave Loud their first loss to lock into playoffs. And if they didn't do that, they would be in this scenario with all the rest of them today.
Yeah, and talking about do or die, 3 of our teams playing today have that pressure on them. For Furia, for Sentinels, for EG, all of those squads are still fighting for a spot.
Yeah, Sentinels, one of the first teams out onto the stage today. And speaking of Sentinels, I'm actually getting word that a new Coach Kaplan video has dropped on Twitter. There's yet another roster change heading into their final week. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Hey, Sen City. Coach Kaplan back with another roster update. I'm not going to lie, the split has been tough on everyone, and we're making one last roster change. This one will be controversial for sure. Tyson is out, and we're bringing in someone you probably know very well.
Let's go!
Okay. All right. So, I mean, look, hey, when your season is bouncing on a knife's edge, sometimes you have to make controversial decisions.
Yeah.
And Sean, I know you've been tracking, the Sentinels roster moves all split long. What do you make of that, Coach Kaplan? A pretty bold move here.
Yeah, when I was watching that get recorded, I saw Josh do that, and the producer said he could do whatever he wanted. He could be like nervous or, that definitely caught me off guard watching him do that in front of Kaplan like that. It definitely caught me off guard.
Yeah.
If anything, he doesn't look nervous. That's the good news, right?
Yeah, he's ready to step in. I mean, Wilkinson's a pretty good IGL. It might be a good change.
A little morale boost, a little IGLing. We'll see if it bodes well for them. Now, last week, Sentinels, they did get a big W, right, to keep themselves alive in the playoff picture, as did the rest of the North American teams. It was a 5-0 takedown of South America. However, I think we need to bring up that overheating header. All right, now, if we use the Wayback Machine and rewatch the Week 2 broadcast, the desk made some very bold claims that didn't quite pan out. Here, take a look.
I think at the end of the group stage here in Americas, Leviathan will be the team at number 1. Come on, guys.
I just did hot ones. That's like a Taco Bell mild right there. That's a Taco Bell mild.
You can't say that.
No. If I'm Mimi, I hate to say this, mild take and the wrong take, double L from your team.
Yeah, actually lost
that
it.
was bad take and not even that spicy.
Sentinels took down 100 Thieves.
Sure.
Why? What would you say if I said they're now the number 1 team in NA again? They're about to take out NRG this week to prove it.
About to take out NRG.
Wait, I'm not done. None of this matters. No NA teams are going to Tokyo.
What? Not a single one.
None?
We're done.
Not NRG,
we're not going to Tokyo.
not Sentinels, none of them?
None.
Sean and I, we might be on the same page just a little bit.
Oh.
Okay.
My take is NA officially washed as a region. It's over. The region is done, Mimi. It is a wrap for North America. And you know what, Sean? I agree with you. Sentinels are the best team in NA because they have 2 Brazilian players.
Oh,
that is why they are the best team in NA. They're going to be the best, and it has nothing to do with the NA players.
I have the same reaction I had then of just head in hands for completely different reasons.
I don't know what's worse or more overcooked. I don't know if the takes were more overcooked or the reactions to the takes. They're being like, oh, that was a mild take, Leviathan number 1. What a mild take you have there, Mimi.
I think my take is more reasonable than NA being dead. NA's very alive right now. They were 5-0 last week.
Can I lie and say like Kurt wrote that or something, or like anyone?
I say go. He's not here to defend himself. So yeah, exactly. That'll be the last thing in the public discourse. I mean, what's funny is those takes at least were representative To a degree of the time. And that is, if anything, just to explain to the audience what a tumultuous roller coaster this season has been if teams have shifted throughout the standings. But all right, let's hear some fresh hot takes from the desk. I want to be able to resurrect this footage when we make it to the LCQ.
Let's just delete the footage.
So Mimi, make sure that record button has been hit. Mimi, you're up first. What's your hot take this time around?
This take is hot. I want to preface it by saying I love Brazil. I love Loud. I love Brazil. But Loud beating Cloud9 was a fluke. Cloud9 is the best team in the league right now. It was a close game. They should have won that one. I think throughout the season, Cloud9 has looked better. Loud has been tested by pretty much everyone, dropping maps left and right, whereas C9 have been consistently dominating against the best teams in the league. And if they played again, I think C9 takes it down.
Well, look, at the very least, we know that the Cloud9 players agree with you as well. Multiple Cloud9 players within interviews have said they believe that one was a fluke. It was a game or a match they should have won. They would like to get it back and are hungry for an opportunity to run into Loud yet again. I'm still a little on the outside of that one. I think that match played now, I agree with you. But I think the match at the time did play out to expectation.
Yeah, at the time it played out to expectation. Oh, man.
What do you got here, Sean?
My hot take, dude, I don't even know what the hot takes are anymore, to be honest, because we've seen every team win in this league. But my hot take for today, I think NRG and Furia are both going to 2-0, and I think it's going to be super convincing, like by 10+ rounds in each game.
Is that hot of a take? I feel like
wait. You're saying they're going to win each map by double-digit rounds? So we're going to get like 13 threes and 13 twos?
I think combined it's going to total to 10
Okay,
rounds.
okay.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, per map? That is disgusting if that happens. All right, but the NRG and the Furia call.
Yeah, I mean, if Sentinels win and NRG, that would be very exciting for all of us. We would see mustaches as eyebrows.
There's a chance.
Well, so what's interesting is your hot take, it conflicts with mine in an interesting way, because my hot take is that Sentinels will make the playoffs.
You're coping.
I'm maybe a little bit, you know me, I'm friendly with the copium here on VCT.
Well
they keep the tank close on this side of the desk, but here's the thing, this is more for me a faith play than anything else, right? We talk about how much this team has had to go through to try and find what works for them, and I think, you flip a coin enough times, it's gonna come up heads, and while it hasn't yet for them so much this season, I think week 7, week 8 is where it happens. They got the win over Crew, they're gonna get the win here today. A few other things do need to go their way as well, and that's the real issue, is Destiny's not fully within their hands, but I think they're gonna get it done here against Furia, and then the rest of their NA brethren are gonna have their back.
See,
in
the
future
issue
games.
is,
that's what I believe.
A coin is like 50-50 on
Yeah.
if it lands heads or tails. I don't think this one's 50-50.
You either win or you lose, Mimi. You either win or you. There are only two options. You're either in the playoffs or you're out.
I don't think that's how that works.
I'm pretty sure that's how math and stats work. All right, and Space isn't here to disagree with me on that. All right, we're less than a week away from playoffs. Let's hear your hot takes. So make sure you're telling us using the hashtags VCT America and VCT so we can feature your tweets on broadcast a little bit later and flame you as they have flamed me for mine. Breaking news, though. Sentinels has posted another Coach Kaplan update. Is it a last-second roster change? Let's check it out. Let's see.
Hey, Sen City. Coach Kaplan here, back with another roster update. Okay, maybe last one was a little bit crazy, but we've been listening to your feedback and...
So I'm not sure what happened between 10 minutes ago and now that Josh, what happened to Josh? Did the bear get him?
Is Josh is that the new player?
Is it just Josh in a bear costume?
Oh, maybe that's the buff
That might be it. That might be it.
I did see that in the green room. Did see that next to his stuff.
Summoned a bear. We'll see how that goes tomorrow. We're going to take a quick pause, and then we're going to dive into our first make or break matchup of the day. It's Sentinels versus Furia. We'll be right back.
I really want to know where that bear suit is.
It didn't even look like a bear.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
To end it! Can he do it like this? First miss, the second does not!
Levou primeiro, pega mais olha o que você quer, deixa ele brilhar!
Welcome back to VCT Americas. It's time to talk Sentinels versus Furia. And wait, hold up.
Not another one.
No, I'm getting word that, actually, it is another one. Sentinels have posted yet another video update from Coach Kaplan right before they take the stage. Well, let's take a look.
Hey, Sen City. Coach Kaplan here with yet another roster update. This time...
All right, Sean. I think this bit's up. Why don't you get on out of here?
All right, man. It's all you.
Come on. Hey, VCT Americas. Coach Kaplan here with a roster update. There's a lot of eyes on the show for Week 8, so we're bringing in some extra help on the desk. And this guy knows a thing or two about the game.
F it, I'm back.
Let's go! We're happy to be welcoming the guards, Val, into the desk. He'll be joining us today and tomorrow to help us break down all of the super imperative action that's about to happen on the stage as teams race for playoffs. But it's good to have you here, buddy.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
What's been your kind of overall perspective of the season so far, just weeks 1 through 7 before we dive into week 8 and where the pressure's really on for teams?
I mean, it's super unexpected. We're seeing a lot of upsets. Some teams expected to do well to start not doing well, picking it back up, like NRG. Some teams starting slow. It's been all over the place. As a fan, it's been exciting to watch, learning a lot, and I'm excited to see how it unfolds in week 8.
Sweet. Well, I'm pumped to get your take on our first matchup of the day. It's time for us to talk about it. Sentinels, the stakes could not be higher for this squad right now, okay? They need a win to stay alive, and even if they get that win, tiebreakers will come into play in order for them to make the postseason.
You can cope about Sentinels still, though. If they win 2-0 today, there are chances left for this team. And the thing is, after a streak of losses, despite a really unexpected roster change with Def leaving and Tens coming back on in, they did take a win. It was against Crew, who hasn't won anything yet, but it was a win for Sentinels.
And they had glimmers of hope throughout that win, right? They're a rockin' double duelist. They look good on Bind and Lotus here. I thought last week was a refreshing look for Sentinels. And even though Crew is a winless team in this league, they have been a formidable opponent to everyone they've played this entire split. So I actually thought it was a step in the right direction for Sentinels, who have had so many changes to their team, from the in-game leader to the coach to new sixth coming in. It's just been one thing after the next for them.
Now, Val, I'm sure you could probably speak to, one, what that win will mean in terms of their confidence, but two, maybe more specifically to the situation they find themselves in, where Def left very late into the split. Yep. They're trying to incorporate Marv into an IGLing role. I mean, this is so much for them to come up against in terms of a barrier to overcome,
for sure,
with just one match to put their whole season's hopes on.
Yeah, I mean, it can be very revitalizing for a team when you bring in a new IGL. It kind of opens up the system a lot more, because usually when you have like one certain caller, it's kind of just focused on him. But when you kind of open it up to the team, you can kind of get that honeymoon phase going where everyone's pitching ideas, especially Marv kind of making some magic happen. Never been in the IGL role, but he played under a great IGL in FNS last year. So I could see him being a pretty good caller, especially in the future if he keeps it up. And I can see Sentinels being great, especially if they make it into the playoff run. I could see them going to Tokyo all the way.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay, that is an incredible This is the only guy with an actual hot take.
I said they got to make some magic happen.
I like it. Sorry, can we get that overheating graphic back up? We got a hot take that we didn't get to. My goodness,
She's a believer. But for this team, I mean, it did look better. And I think a lot of people were doubting when they came back in of what Marv can do. Because in the past, he's been known as a very quiet player, lurking, playing the extremities, being more of a piece of a system. But from what we've heard from the team, it actually seemed quite impactful with him stepping up into that role, but also the rest of the team contributing ideas, adding to that, which I think is, well, a very different flow from what they had with Beth, who's very much a traditional IGL, someone who takes a lot of the space in the pre-round, is really calling out the micro of the team, and it allowed them to be so much looser, which I feel like is a strength for a team with so little practice.
Yeah, and Sean, what an interesting kind of like overarching storyline that it creates for the Sentinels roster, where it becomes a season that's all about adaptability, right? Yeah. We talk about like Zekin having to flex a little bit, things like that. Marv now trying to find the IGL role, and we'll get to this Kaplan quote in just a moment, but it is such an interesting kind of overarching story where all these like very well-known names within the scene are having to like fill themselves out even more.
You couldn't have said it any better, yeah, because I'm curious actually what Valen thinks about this, because Sentinels as a team, I know their players have kind of moved around, their coaching staff have moved around, but they've gone from the double controller Harbor Viper to like, you know, like say like Brim Viper to double initiators to double duelists. They've hopped all over the meta, and I don't know what suits them best at this point. I don't know if these players are meant for this meta, and I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are. What has happened throughout the split for them?
I think usually when you take your IGL out of the picture and you start having to be more loose and create ideas, when you have the double initiator comps, it kind of frees people up to be able to make their own plays and also set their teammates up for plays. Like when you got KO flashes and Sova darts and stuff like that, you can combo them, especially with 10s being on the duelist role again. You take those initiating fights. And I think they're playing a lot more loose, like you said. And it helps a lot when you have those extra pieces of utility to get scans, get info, get the proper rotations going, because I'm sure not all their protocols are flushed out, right? So they need that on-the-fly information, the extra utility to, make some magic happen in the game.
I'm glad you touched on playing off of each other, comboing, because we've seen 10s, Zekken. They are a great combo, right? On and off the stage. We have to do it to test how well they really know each other, but the clock is ticking. Here's 10 seconds with 10s and Zekken.
Ready? Yeah. When I came in the first day at the office, there was nothing at anyone's desk, and then just like 5 empty water bottles at a desk. And I was like, yeah, that's Tyson's desk. Wait, where though? You gotta tell the story though. I don't even gotta look, I know what he's gonna say.
Yeah, okay, we're good. Let me verify. Yeah. I stream prac. I had a few thousand people within 2 minutes.
Don't think about it.
You're crazy for that.
What?
You're crazy. I can see you buying some skins. No. Don't you have the new bundle?
Yeah, because the thing's good.
What?
That's the first
I
bundle
only
I bought
buy
in, like,
skins
6
that I'm
months.
actually gonna use. Do you have Ion?
Yeah.
I don't have Ion.
I used that for a
Do you
while.
have Prime?
Yeah.
I don't have Prime. I just have Reaver. I have Reaver and like some other stuff I use for content.
You're just saying that because the lines that you mentioned aren't red.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you just see a red thing, you're gonna buy it.
Yeah, that's what I do.
On stage. This part.
This guy just built his water
yesterday?
yesterday on his mouse pad.
Yeah.
He had a water bottle, open cap, and he just smacked it with all over his mouse pad.
I love watching teammates, rib each other and stuff. I also love that 10s brought the receipts, just calling out skin lines. How about this guy, a skin line? You got that one? You got that one? You got that one?
He was flexing not having them.
It's pretty funny. Faker, most famous League player in the world, plays without skins. And that's a game that has hundreds, if not thousands of skins. Yeah, and he very, very purposely plays without them. Let's move on, though, to Furia, their opponents for the day. The team that Sen will have to get through if they even want to hope of making it to the postseason. Now, they started the split strong. In fact, so strong that people were quick to hop on the hype train for Furia, Mimi, but almost as soon as it left the station, it went off the rails.
And rightfully so. They looked incredible in those first few weeks, and they got themselves a record that would have meant a pretty easy path into the playoffs. But now, in both of their last 2 games, against NRG and against 100 Thieves, they had an opportunity where if they won, they would have closed out, gotten into playoffs, and been the Furia we've expected them to return to being for so long. But instead, they lost both those games in really close affairs, and their position in playoffs is actually on the line in this final week.
Now, Sean, within that, contrary to Sentinel's situation, Furia is wholly in control of their own destiny. Win here, you're in. If they lose, yes, it falls to tiebreakers, but all they have to focus on is beating a singular opponent in Sentinels today.
I mean, 3rd time's a charm, right? NRG, 100 Thieves, and now they have another NA foe to close out their season. And yeah, if they get a loss here, it's over for them. But I can't believe we're here with Furia, right? This is a team that has the skill to definitely make it to Tokyo. They have the playbook to do it as well. But the consistency and the late round plays just haven't been there this split, particularly after that Loud game.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to Furia after that Loud game, but it seemed like something switched and they lost a lot of their confidence. Now, it did come back in the Energy series. They looked insane. But NRG is just like next level at this point, and they couldn't catch up.
Yeah,
Last week was very alarming against 100 Thieves.
Without a doubt. And so they got to turn it back on here, Val. And I'm curious what you make of a team that had such a hot start, that had all the pundits already talking about this team as a contender for top 2, and then that precipitous drop off. Like, what do you attribute that to, if anything?
It's kind of hard to contribute it to something, especially from an outside perspective, but there could be a couple things where, you feel kind of comfortable in your current setting and you might think that all of your strats are working, so, oh, there's not much to change, maybe just fix this up, tweak this a little bit. But when you start to get anti-stratted as the season progresses and teams understand how you play, that's what comes into factor, because they lost to 100 Thieves and they lost to NRG, two teams that haven't really been familiar with their playstyle before without playing them before. But when you watch the footage, they get to learn and get to kind of prep against that.
Now, while it's been struggles as of late, Mimi, if we're going to talk about something that's working for him, Digizin is a person that we'll call out. He's been, coming into his own as of late.
Yeah, he has. This guy was consistently fantastic when this team was at the peak. And when they were slumping, he was struggling as well. But in the last few matches, he's managed to be so much more proactive, getting involved in so many of the first duels of this team. But it's still been difficult. And you can see from the tweet here by him, difficult days teach us so many things. Gratitude for all of this, which is just like a Greek philosopher.
I was going to say, what a humbling tweet, right? Like, to have that mindset as a competitor that, while things are rough, you're going to take that as a learning moment. And I think we should take a moment to learn from our boy Sean over here, who's got a telestrator for us. Talk to us a little bit about what you've identified here.
So you guys know I love DJ. Like, this guy is insane. He's the leader in First Bloods in the entire league. But the way Furia uses him, which is what I'm going to show you in these two clips. So this is their C execute on Haven, and what you're going to see is a lot of similarities here between the two rounds. So you're going to see right here, a lot is going on, right? So we have this little pocket that has been created, and this has been created because of the fact that you see there's a cascade right there where the arrow is. It meets up with the Viper wall, and it creates a nice pocket for them to entry through. Now they're also sky flashing, and the jet is updraft dashing into this cloudburst. There's a sky flash coming above the jet, but what you're gonna notice here is this comp has a lot of problems, because what ends up happening here is they drop this Viper wall back site. And when the Viper wall ends up dropping, what you're gonna see is that, well, DG is alone on an island back here, and Bang has opted to stay. And because Bang stays, Austin throws a flash up in the sky, he gets the kill, and they end up getting out with that and retaking the round. The very next round, this is a round where Furia is faking off of that same exact C pressure. You can see the cascade coming up C long, it connects with the Viper wall. But 100 Thieves is aware of this. You can see Bang actually ahead of the Viper wall, getting the info, and that's gonna cause Cryo to rotate all the way back to A link. As we play through the clip right now, you're gonna see Furia's also putting A pressure. So their goal in this round is to put pressure on the extremities, put pressure on C, put pressure on this A site right now, and you can see if we pause right here at this A site, they've cascaded the cross, they've alarm botted inside main, and they're currently dogging through short. This isn't a C hit, this isn't an A hit, it's a B pop. They've nano swarmed top B, it's broken the alarm bot, but unfortunately for them, they've overcooked this. Cryo's going into the link, and a lot like the prior round, DG is way ahead of the team, and Furia relies so much on utility on these hits. They have a lot of faith in the util just clearing out player locations and getting entries for DG if anyone stays. But if anyone finds creative ways to kind of take peeks into DG like that, like these two rounds, there's a lot of holes. And this is why he seems to be inconsistent. It's not him as a player. It's kind of like how the system is designed. It's either do or die for him, and oftentimes the round falls apart if he fails.
Right, yeah, exactly. A lot of Furia's success rides on Digizin either looking good or looking poor, but that is attached to what's behind him and the other four members trying to support him. That's going to bring us to our featured matchup here when it comes to Sentinels versus Furia Mimi, which is TenZ versus Digizin, and how their teams can set them up for success.
Yeah, for both of these players, they've kind of been coming back into the fray. For TenZ for the first time, and for DG, it's been coming back to form, being super proactive, being super loose on that jet, like you were talking about at times, and taking those high risks. But for TenZ as well, I think his play style that we saw in the first week was very similar. On this Neon, he was consistently really far ahead of his teammates, fighting for these opening duels and kind of flipping rounds off of win or loss. I think for a team like Furia, against Sentinels, a squad with so little preparation in this specific form, taking down a player like TenZ is very doable, because a lot of times there are those gaps left. There are those risks taken by him.
Yeah, not only that, but Furia is a fan of the double controller comps on a lot of maps, and that really limits the opponent jet, just because there's so much sight lines getting blocked. It's hard to get those deep lines, and the cascade is just OP for taking off the op. So if TENS can manage to have a big game versus the double controller, that's even more kudos to him, because it's very tough to perform against that kind of composition.
Yeah, in both of those comps, you saw Bang and Cryo stepping in front of the controller utility to get the kill onto DG. Now, does TENS do that today? Does Zekken do that today? Do we see that out of Sentinels? Because that's what Energy and 100 Thieves both did.
High pressure matchup to be certain. Let's go ahead and hear from Mazin, though, on his take on why it's so difficult to prep for this matchup against Sentinels.
Eu acredito que contra a Sentinels a gente tem que tomar muito cuidado, porque eu acho que eles não têm mais chance de playoff, ou se tiver a chance é muito difícil. Se eles chegarem no último jogo contra a gente sem ter chance de playoff, talvez eles joguem um jogo muito sem pressão, muito solto, e isso pode acabar se tornando um problema pra gente. A gente tem que tomar muito cuidado, eles são um time muito qualificado, e talvez por o jogo talvez não valer nada pra eles, eles possam jogar de uma forma mais solta e isso dificultar um pouco a gente. Mas a gente vai se preparar da mesma forma que a gente vem se preparando, vamos focar mais no nosso time, porque a Sentinels também acabou de mudar de line, não tem por que a gente pensar muito neles, a gente também não vai ter muito material de estudo, e é isso, vamos fazer o nosso e tentar trazer nossas ideias para o jogo e fazer funcionar.
Gotta trust in the prep, regardless of the roster decisions that have made. We're almost out of time before the teams hop on stage, so let's get those whiteboards up. Let's start making some predictions for how this first series. Did anyone deliver you a whiteboard?
No whiteboard.
Oh my goodness, it's our guest, and here you can take mine, because I know you were gonna predict this anyway.
Let me change something a little bit.
All right. You change that while Sean makes his prediction.
I'm gonna go ahead, shocker, Furia. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with the Brazil teams going to Tokyo.
2-1, 2-0.
2-0.
2-0.
2-0. I'm in the same boat. 2-0 for Furia on this one. Sentinels is a new roster, so many changes. It's going to be so hard for them to get a roster together to beat a team like Furia.
I'm on the Sen Copium. The Sen Magic is in the room 2-1.
No way.
Yes! Dash had 2-0 for Sen. I got 2-1.
I did have the 2-0. That's more for my hot take than anything else. All right, we're set. Let's kick off our final week of competition today. 3 teams fighting for a shot at Tokyo. Who will survive? That's the question. VCT Americas. It starts right now. This stream contains fast flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone was talking about him, and this is going to be the guy to look out for.
Too much Cryo again. Does this guy miss? Does Cryo ever miss? No, he doesn't.
Olha quem é, escala bem, faz duplo abate, vamos, Fogão!
Se acaba tempo e
It's the most important match of the season. Energy has been getting better just like us. I think we have a lot of confidence going in, especially with us winning 3 in a row, and I think we're feeling really good.
Whoa! On a different level. With that timing here. Wait a minute! What?
Under pressure, we just thrive so much more. We love when teams start to play a little more scared and they know that they have to play kind of perfect and more things are on the line. They need to win this game for playoffs, so it would feel good to beat them so they don't get playoffs.
Crashes and Victor, Nanostorm on the ground. They're playing even more for the attempt on the read. The dynamic duel!
Furia is a really good team. Their players are really individually talented. I think they're really good at playing off each other and playing as a pack.
Jump spotting in a sense to find one. QCK, same spot! Oh gosh, there's still so much damage!
Nosso jogo contra a Sentinels vai ser um jogo muito difícil, com certeza. Ainda mais que eles vieram agora de mais uma mudança, o TENS está voltando. É um time muito qualificado.
Last player standing.
Oh my gosh!
To end it!
Can he do it like this? First misses, the second does not!
like a pressure cooker as both of our squads vie for a postseason position. Sentinels versus Furia.
This is a must-win for both of these teams, really, to keep their hopes in their hands and for Sentinels to even keep hope alive of making playoffs. So many roster moves throughout this season. They've now landed on this 5 with a new IGL in Marv, with TenZ coming back into the roster in the match that is arguably the most important one they've had yet.
It's the most important one, Mimi, and it's the hardest one because the maps actually matter. They matter a tremendous amount. They can't just win 2-1 and be content. They have to win this series 2-0 to give themselves the best chance at making playoffs. So this veto is super significant coming into the BO3.
Valen, how does that rest on a player when you have that much pressure on you? When not only you have to win, but you have to do so dominantly to keep your season going.
Yeah, not only when you have to win, but you have to win in a 2-0 fashion. Honesty can kind of distract the players. Sometimes they tend to fall away from the fundamentals and the game plan, and they just hone in on, I have to win. Not only do I have to win, I have to win 2-0. And sometimes that can kind of be a bit distracting, so hopefully SEN isn't too focused on the round diff and the map score, and they just need to do what they got to do to win each round, take it round by round, and they can make it happen.
And of course, that's where you hope that the coaches, right, can be a stabilizing force, calm those nerves, navigate the map veto excellently for their squads. Give your 5 guys that feeling that they have a little bit of an advantage before they even step into the server.
Absolutely. And for Furia, this is the matchup to regain confidence. They've been in a bit of a slump. 2 chances to make it into playoffs against 2 North American teams. This is now their 3rd and final opportunity to keep it in their hands, and they're heavily favored. They should be feeling like this is the match to get your confidence back and to get playoffs.
Yeah, not only, it's a big game for both teams, as we've been stating, but I think this is the biggest test for both teams. During the group stage, you can afford a couple of losses here and there, but now for both teams, you can't afford a loss. They both need to win to cement themselves in the playoffs. I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Well, we dive into it, Sean, and the first map off the table will be a SEN.
I love seeing that out of Sentinels, really taking away the crown jewel out of Furia's map pool. Ascent out of the way, and Furia takes away Lotus. Sentinels been up and down on Lotus, so a pretty good ban right there from Furia, and you can see Sentinels locking in Split. I think we're going to see a lot of duelists today.
Yeah, Furia is also one of the few teams we've seen that has a hard set permaban. They've not played Lotus at all, but a map that they play a lot of is Haven. You were talking about this in your Telestrator. It's that double controller composition that has had issues in the past, but in that little interview ahead of the game, we heard that the preparation was focused on improvement of themselves, not on counter-striding others, and I think fixing the holes that they had in that comp will be a big priority.
I'm not gonna lie, Mimi, I picked Haven because I had a feeling Furia would go there because they actually looked insane. And while they lost those rounds I broke down, there was a lot of structure in those rounds.
Yeah.
So Sentinels has a lot of work to beat them on Haven in that matchup.
Well, and how about that with Fracture and Pearl leaving the pool? That means if we do happen to go to the decider, Valen, we're gonna be ending it on Bind.
Both teams played double duelist, I think, last time.
This is
honestly, this is gonna be the best. This is a fire. I think we have double duelists on 2 out of 3 maps.
Quadruple duelist maps twice. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, just to add an extra point on the Haven pick, I think it relies a lot on the support staff of Sentinels being able to get TenZ the proper info through all those Viper walls, Harbor walls, get him in the right spots he needs to be, get him the deep lines, and you're going to see TenZ be a lot more free if that's able to happen.
Well, talk of freedom, we start on Split here, which is double duelists for both of these teams. We've talked a lot about how Sentinels has to flex their roles with new players coming in, but this is a map where it just makes sense. Pencata will get Viper, Marv will get that Astra, and you'd expect the double duelists to be locked in for TenZ and Zekken. That has worked so well for them.
There it is. Yeah, we do get the Jet to close out the double duelist, and that goes back to the conversation we were having about adaptability for the Sentinels roster and how much Zekken has been a chameleon for them, willing to play the double duelist when needed, but also to concede that role to TenZ if there's only required 1 on the map.
Yeah, but when we see them like this, when they have the raised Jet, particularly on the Sentinels that I'm talking about, their sight pops. That's what we're going to be looking out for right here. Their B site hits very strong. Their A site hits through heaven really, really strong. They don't get a lot of work done in mid with this comp. Can they disguise that in some way or another at some point in this half?
Def has always been an IGL that was absolutely incredible here on Split in his mid-rounding on the attacking side. They've lost him, and now it's this leadership by committee, Marv splitting the duties with the rest of his teammates, and the questions now fall on a map that requires a lot of mid-rounding. Take mid control, work into a split in the late round. It's the priorities you have on this map. How can these players step up and find those ideas against a team that is very adept at Split?
Yeah, and I would say the double duelist kind of frees that up a bit because it opens up the B pops more because you have the double dive in, especially versus Astra. They can just pull B main, but when you have the Jet being able to beat that alongside the Sky Flash, that's huge. I would say this map comes down to who's a master at split because it's a mirror comp. They both understand the ins and outs of the comp, and it's gonna heavily rely on just the deep playbook, the adaptability from both teams. I'm excited to see what happens here.
Suggests to me that two very important things in this map particularly are going to be pacing and info gathering, right? How well can you read your opponents when you're going to have fast executes, right? Are you willing to concede the space, look for the retake? Are you trying to stonewall them and meet them right where the pressure is coming?
Yeah, and well, both these comps are double duelists. The trade-off you get in this composition is that your sole info initiator is Sky. That's pretty standard in this meta right now, but it still can be hard to play around. You only really have that one tool as activation to pop through smokes, that one main tool besides pushing for info on the defensive side. Puts a lot of pressure on that initiator.
Yeah, it kind of opens up the metagame a bit because you can game that initiator info knowing that that's the solo initiator, so you can see a lot of map control towards the opposite side of the Sky and then go back into him. There's a lot of options here for both teams. Let's see what happens.
We got some funny signs in the crowd you love to see. We had a quick client restart, but we're all sorted out on stage and set for map number 1. So let's send it over to your casters for this first matchup of the day. It's Brennan's Sideshow. Wait, did Sentinels cut you, bro?
Yeah, absolutely did. Already, man, it's crazy out here. You just can't trust that Kaplan guy. Or is it Sean? Is it Sean?
Is it Sean?
I can never tell. I can never tell.
Management's been, I mean, they've been getting their fingers in that Sentinels pie, man, all day, all season long, to be honest. Been causing all sorts of mischief. Maybe they heard about your side bet as well with the mustache going off and glued onto the eyebrows.
We won't talk about that.
If they made the playoffs. Anyway, we won't talk about that, but what we will talk about is the stakes in this match here. Sentinels versus Furia, and it's all on the line. Must win for both of these teams. Furia, ample opportunities throughout the split to try and secure and lock up that playoff spot. They're going up against the Sentinels that, realistically, nothing to lose at this point. They've got to win this one 2-0 to even stand a chance, but even then the playoff opportunities are still out of their hands, yet they're going to be fighting tooth and nail as we get started.
And it looks pacey, and yet they're quiet. An early flash up A ramp and Sentinels are contact pushing. Is this the marked IGL influence potentially? Take a little bit of heaven pressure. And at any point here, we're expecting Dejazine to be under a lot of stress and strain.
Biding the time, though. You can see MW as well. Free push deep into mid is going to be getting a lot of information here, so they have to be aware. They hear the util now being expended. Nade into the back, and it looks like a bit of an attempt to play is made. 2 shots to the chest. I'll take down second. But now, the Dejazine under an immense amount of pressure, still weaving in and out of the smoke. Frenzy in the hands of Mazine. He does good work with it. 2 in the kill feed. Left up to Brancada, but he's low.
And taken out. MW on the flank. Mid information found very early on, and Furia rack up a pistol. The pistol rounds have been very good for Furia. They've been up and down towards the end of the season, but overall, their pistol win rate has been key at getting them into positions where they looked like a lock for playoffs. Now, they're still not a lock for playoffs. They, like you said earlier, Brent, they need to win this game to keep their destiny in their own hands. If they win, they're in. It's as simple as that for Furia. They've still got a couple of chances even if they lose, but they would like to simplify things. It would be a lot easier to simplify stuff.
A win here today would do it.
And like we were talking about, the Sentinels. Okay. The flow charts have been out.
Don't start following up the flow charts.
I've seen them everywhere, Brett. I'm surprised no one in the crowd has a flow chart as a sign. Here's how Sentinels make the playoffs, but to try to simplify it, Sentinels can win 2-0 today, and then if NRG win 2-0 against EG, they're in. Or MIBR can beat 100 Thieves.
You're losing me. You're losing me.
They need to win 2-0 today to have the best chance.
Yeah, I like that.
We'll keep it as simple as that.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple, and that's just really the approach as well from Furia in this round. On the eco for Sen, looking to see if they can do any damage. They'd love a kill or two, taking away the armor of 1 or 2 of the players, but Furia safe hands. Spikes drop down into a really poor location. It's left
1 enemy remaining.
Now down to just Pancada again, but inevitable at this point. So it's going to be that nice early start and lead for Furia. 2-0 at the beginning of this one.
Keeping things clean too.
Flawless.
All 5 survive with that weaponry, so it's the 4 Spectres and the Marshal that they're going to take into this bonus round. And Sen, this one's where you need to start racking the rounds up, right?
Yeah.
On the attack side, your double duelist comp is going to work spectacularly well. So no worries there in terms of the compositional choice. You've got TenZ, you've got Zekken, you've got explosive players. Of course, that's going to be matched on the other side as well. And Dejazine and MW are ridiculous.
They are going to be able to match those players. I mean, speaking of the individuals of SEN, that's what they're probably going to be leaning into quite a bit. Zekken as a player has been impressive me so damn much, despite the fact that Sentinels have been struggling as much recently. I mean, he's been playing some of the best individual Valorant that I've seen in quite some time across multiple roles. I mean, the guy's been playing smokes for them recently. He's been playing flash initiators at time.
I don't know what he's going to play on Haven.
Yeah, it's up in the air, really, but he's been playing it all, and he's been putting up incredible numbers.
This round as well, very slow from Sentinels. Reminiscent of the pistol, definitely looks like a game plan.
Toxin screen down.
Trying to contact up here, and oh my god.
The timing's missed.
MW almost got caught out, but in fact gets away with it there.
5-wall up.
This is so contacty.
Yeah, really dissuading this one, but okay. Bit of spam through the smoke, onto the angle, maybe off a bit of utility that MW was throwing out.
And that flash recognizes that there's nobody close in heaven. And again, quiet, creeping, sneaking their way through mid.
Very contacty.
It's going to be hard for Furia to get their timings if this is how Sentinels want to approach the game.
Trailblazer leading in the charge, clears a lot of that space as well. You can see the util. Zine can hold his ground, not into the corner. Site's going to be claimed now for Sentinels. Free access. There should be a free plant. Nothing to really push this one away, so getting themselves into the post plan now. Important to note Pancada, he's got this backstab position that's all the way behind them here when Furia are attempting this retake.
Yeah, he's the player to keep an eye out for. And how does the Furia retake look? They don't have a huge amount of utility that they can really use.
No dash for Dejazine to get in.
Yeah, it's only one flash really from Azine that can apply any pressure. To be honest, it looks like Furia are just playing exits.
Yeah, it looks like they've just given up on any idea of winning a round.
How crazy is that? They have 4 Spectres. They could have definitely fought for this. I mean, it's a bonus round. You would almost, I mean...
Going in the last second then. Trying to catch maybe a couple of these exit kills, take the rifles out of their hands, but no. Held for now, keeping the economy strong.
I'll be honest with you, Ben. I was coming into this game thinking it was going to be an outrageous clash filled with scrappy Valorant and double duelists flying all over the place, high tempo. And actually what we've seen, so far at least, is really, really slow, methodical gameplay from Sentinels, and then Furia save it.
And it works for Sentinels, don't get me wrong. Find countless opportunities across the map, but
one enemy remaining.
If you're trying to opt into that contacty playstyle, you might start to have issues, because guess what? Dejazine has picked up the operator now.
Yeah.
It's a great tool to counteract that particular style when teams try and want to do this one. And look at this from already on the angle. Wall in his face, double satchel through, but he still holds it.
And this time a little faster from Sen.
Oh my. Narrowly missing the mark.
Nearly.
And this is fast, isn't it? Seekers to try and push their way through, but there is util being expended just to push them back through the choke point. Angle watch for, smoke forwards, Dejazine can't hold it, he's stunned up and backed away. Meeted him face to face, they wade right through, right past each other, they've missed it. There was a timing there potentially for some casualties. It's a spike going down here, flash deep into the back of it. Marv wants to take the fight to him. Dejazine knocked down to 34 health, but still in the fight, still maybe make this winnable.
Pancada was detected on the lurk there. The flash, it spotted him. He still gets value and takes down QCK.
Staying alive here. Double satchel through into the back here. This MW to try and make the most of this one. Spraying through TenZ. Contains. Traded though. Khalil making moves here. Time is starting to run short. The retake out in the open. That's Zekken and Pancada. The last line of defense to try and offset this one. Refuse. Angle held. Still all the way through. It's halved. But not enough time. Pancada. It's cold. Ice cold. As he holds that ground, holds the sight line as well, removing the operator. Expensive at the end of the day, yet Sentinels do claim another one.
I like this approach from Sen. They've kind of conditioned Furia to expect a really slow pace at the beginning. They've just seen, as soon as he has money for an operator, Sentinels go a bit quicker. Double blast back up ramp, commit to sight. They still have Pancada going for the late lurk, playing the clutch. It looks like a coherent game plan that Sentinels have come into split with. It is obviously their map pick.
Yeah.
But The reason why I might sound a little surprised here is just because, remember, this is a team that's recently parted ways with their IGL. This is a team that we saw struggle a little bit against Crew. They're showing good signs already, albeit with the score only at 2-2.
Sentinels have spoken about, you know, everybody having to step up, I think, as well with the deficit of IGLing. Marv obviously pushing himself into that role, but it's not something that he's been known for. He's known as a quiet player. I think Mimi was talking about it in our pre-show today.
Yeah, and I think major credit to Zekken and Sassy for stepping up and helping him in that regard.
Yeah.
But also to Marv for kind of accepting that burden of responsibility. Now, I do feel like Dejazine could get dangerous here. Yeah, the angle that he was holding is just so filthy. And that wall is, it's a dodge one, isn't it?
Pancada falls here. It's going to make things just that much more difficult. I mean, you can feel the amount of emphasis that Sentinels are placing towards that ramp position, but 40 seconds remain now. This time, mid is where they're setting their sights. It's just, again, that contact clearance into the close corner, expecting somebody to be there, but a fight's won. Dejazine, knives in his hand. Lovely bait and switch there with the movement all around them. Dejazine, he survives for now, but not for much longer. Single bullet's enough to take him down. The reposition of Khalil, not enough, and QCK wanted to get one for his troubles, not enough. So, spike planted now. Mazine, a rifle in the midst of all of that chaos. Lovely movement from 10, spots out the positioning with the flash accompanying it. So they know where Mazine is now, trying to attempt the impossible.
A 1v3 or save the rifle. That's what he's thinking currently. Wondering about somebody going for the CT push, and Sassy holding on another off angle.
A nice off angle.
Catches Mazine. Yeah, I thought that was going to be dangerous, but disaster averted for Sentinels. Dejazine finds that opening pick, and to be honest, there were multiple players that could have been disastrous, including Dejazine, who I think got lost in Ten's Cloudburst there for a while. But Ten's tip of the spear navigates that very nicely and guides his team on an explosive push through B Heaven. And at this point, Sentinels are in control of the game. Dejazine's opted for another operator pickup, and this one has to work.
Yeah.
You know, Furia get knocked down again and the op disappears, they're going to be broke.
Adjustment here is holding that ramp angle. I think this makes a lot of sense. You know, we've noted the fact that there's a lot of attention to SEN. You know, they're lurking up into that position, taking it around, you know, the 1:40 to 1 minute mark. Oh, and now he wants to creep onto it. I mean, this is risky. So many different angles to watch for, because look, I mean, already you can see Tens has crossed that left-hand side.
Dejazine is super confident as a player. He loves playing these positions where he's open to multiple angles. He doesn't care. He's just got confidence in himself to hit the shot.
Hey, the sound cue. Dash active. Dog spots the two of them. Back on the angle. It's got a few seconds and a narrow angle at that. My goodness.
Meanwhile, though, Zekken picks up a kill on MW in B Heaven. And now Khalil's under major pressure.
No time wasted. Rocket. That's a direct. Love to see it. Site's going to be opened up. 40 seconds remaining, but the Spike has got an absolute marathon to make its way all the way back.
Oh, you can't lose that.
That is a critical kill.
You just cannot be losing that.
30 seconds left.
Heaven not watched for, though. Opportunities to really put a thorn into the side of Sentinels, but Sassy crosses, planning safe into the default box angle, but Dejazine's watching for the reposition now. So damn narrow, opens it up still. Left down to 2, make it 1. Zekken, last one standing. Beautiful movement. Placement there to isolate the 5-7. Bullets, no way! 4 in a row, the Red Bull clutch. You have got to be joking.
What an unbelievably good shot towards the end. And the individual quality of these Sentinels players has just carried them across the line there. Especially credit to Zekken, because not only does he finish, he opens this round up. The kill on MW in B Heaven is the whole reason they have an opportunity to hit the site and win that. Look at that. Kaplan and Drew
popping off.
I like the back-to-back setup as well. I didn't realize that's how it worked.
Forcing Furia into the timeout, but I mean, just to reflect on what we just witnessed, I said it earlier, Josh, I'll say it again. Zekken has been playing some of the best individual Valorant I've seen out of him in quite some time, across multiple roles, but he's been doing it all. I mean, that was just outlandish.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I mean, the round does get a lot easier if QCK gets the kill onto Pancada in mid, but Mazine kind of mopped that up. Yeah, they would have an extra player to help on the retake, and it probably looks a bit easier, but with the quality of Zeken's shooting, it may not have made any difference. And like I was talking about before this round began, Tejazine bought another operator.
Yeah. Heavy investment.
He is back down to being broke. He's got light armor, a sheriff for this round, on max loss bonus, right? But still, the money is looking dire, and Sentinels are snowballing. The double duelist compositions, a lot of the pros talk about it being a momentum-based thing. You get those double duelists working well at the start of the game, and suddenly they're all fired up. They've got all the confidence, the pressure's on the opponent, and you start racking up these rounds.
Composition itself lends to being a bit more explosive. You've got the options, you know, with the double satchels, the dash to try and take some of that ramp control elsewhere, trying to punish players tucked deep into mid.
Bren, this is a crazy investment of the
Vipers. It's on a half buy.
And he just ripped it at the beginning of the round. They've got stingers to work with here. This isn't a force. This is them just investing a Viper's Pit on a round where they have, I don't know, 20% chance of winning?
Yeah, what it does do is corral Sentinels away from it. In theory, at least. Oh, they chose to disrespect it.
It gives them a chance of winning, and we've seen other teams have their eco rounds be extraordinarily successful. And they're currently playing Sen like a fiddle. These three players ready to collect the B push.
Tejazine on the angle. X-ray off, because guess what? 10 swinging wide, double faced up. Pull is immaculate. Going to be locking down the two players here. Jump spot round the side. Kill still to be found, but blinded up. That's an easy collection. One after another.
And it's another anti-eco the Sentinels navigate quite nicely. Bancada once more getting the better end of that Viper v Viper battle. These eco rounds have looked dangerous both times for Furia, and yet 10's at the front, navigating them really nicely.
Yeah.
The double face onto the angle, the way that he pulls around Pillar there as well to bail out his teammates that had been team blinded.
In sync.
All very clean looking. 10's is having a great game. Here's another opportunity for Furia to start anything, to do anything on this defense side. They've lost 5 in a row right now. They go for the operator again.
Yep, no armor.
No armor.
And there's really no change in the game plan for Sentinels. It's still putting down focus, A main, and a slow beginning again. And ensuring there's no mistakes, no gaps in the play.
100% the Sentinels players are talking about the fact that Tejazine has enough money to buy an AWP. They're aware, they have that level of experience.
Yeah.
They are definitely thinking about this. Now, the challenge for them is Tejazine can be in many different places around the map. Could be facing B main, pushing down mid. He could be posted up on A. That's why they're so timid here in taking that A ramp control compared to how we've seen in the past.
Opportunity, smoke. Propped up now towards Mail. Gives Marv the bit of that breathing room, but it's so dangerous. I mean, what if Tejazine was playing just in that rope room?
Well, that's why they double face it though, right? Yeah. They have Marv and Zek in there. And now they've got into a nice spot where, to be honest, Sassy can just rip his Seekers. Here they come, actually.
Yeah. Slamming a bit of a wedge here as well into that heaven position. MW having to use the showstopper, but he's blinded up near-sided. Seeker at his back. Still has the rocket, a bit in the fuse. 1 kill claimed and backs away. Left. Survives. Playing his life. Bit of pandemonium now injected into this one. A spike nowhere near. Trying to make his way towards the site with 20 seconds remaining. QCK. He's going to get his position spotted here, but he could be that backstab. He's worried. The heaven position. Marv, as the war fades away, wants to take the fight to him. Confidence is there. Marv wins it. Dropped down low, but time is so damn low. MW, final line. Right to the back of the site here. 4 seconds remaining. It's a wider swing to pull. Justice lodging him. Can't stick the spike there. So Furia getting one on the board, eventually dislodging that one. There was a lot of momentum that Sen were gaining, but finally earning themselves that round.
Nicely played by Furia, and especially MW. He shuts down the push as it comes in by using his showstopper here. And that's a nasty one from Nazine too. But really by taking 10s out instantly there and repositioning, he halted all of the aggression, slowed the round down, and got into a position where Sen didn't really have a go button that they could hit anymore.
Yeah.
However, Furia are going to need many more of those. Split's been a map that hasn't looked that great for this team. You know, previously they were running a chamber composition here that I wasn't a big fan of. Recently, swapped over to the double duelist, and Sentinels have obviously picked this as their best chance of getting a first map on the board. So far, the game plan is working perfectly.
the first gun round that Furia able to take away in this map so far, which is quite unusual when you consider that SEN actually, you look at the statistics, Josh, are sitting near the bottom of the pack in the Americas when it comes to converting any gun rounds.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. At the same time, I feel like half of that has been that Sentinels have messed with their roster so much
and changed, yeah,
that they just don't have good game plans a lot of the time coming into these matches. And yet today, you can really see what it is, right? You could see that right from the beginning, that they were planning on messing with the tempo, messing with the reads that Furia would have, putting pressure A-ramp. It's very coherent. The question for me is going to be, how do Sentinels adapt if they're pressured later on? Especially when there's so much weight on these players to win the series 2-0.
Doesn't seem like there's too much nuance in the play from SEN still. Again, it's very similar attack side setup.
To be honest,
push back. They hear that op shot, so now they found out where Digizine is playing.
Yeah, I think that's perfect for them. So now you get the mid-round audible call.
Whoa, oh my goodness, that is brave. Satchel to disengage.
It's also really good information though, and it stops MW from playing in his position down mid. So they've got him off a deep line, reduce the amount of information that Furia have to work with in mid. And QCK and MW want to fight this again.
No time wasted.
What's going on here?
Time being taken here, pushing through. Okay. Yeah, a little bit odd, a little bit bizarre because all the smoke's being watched for. Furia, I mean, just feeling a little bit rushed perhaps.
Oh, it smacks of desperation from Furia, that play. And Sentinels clean it up so easily. The pressure applied and Furia crumble. Maybe the nerves are getting to this Furia team.
And I was saying, Josh, listen, before we went live, I was looking at the players. Sentinels, they're in their huddle up. It's all smiles. I've never seen Marv smile before. He had a big old grin on his face. And I'm telling you, the pressure, I think, is off this Sentinels team. They realized that, listen, we've probably chalked our split. That we've made some changes. It hasn't really worked out. Let's go out there, let's have fun, and let's take it to a team like Furia, because they are the team that realistically, they need to win this, Josh, to have all the chances in their own hands, destiny in their hands to make that playoff spot.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And Furia have already kind of squandered 2 chances against 2 North American teams already. The game against NRG, a 2-1 loss. The game against 100 Thieves, also a 2-1 loss. It's a little reminiscent, actually, of Leviathan, where they look great at the beginning and then are struggling towards the end to even cement their place. If Furia lose 2-0 today, there's only 12.5% of scenarios where they make it to playoffs.
Scout destroyed.
It really does get whittled down into just nothing. You never really want to get to that position at the end of the split. You'd like your chances to be solidified.
This is
making
another
playoffs.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was just going to say this is another really slow round. And while I like that in general, sometimes against the ecos, if you're not taking a bit of map control, things can get dangerous at this point.
Okay.
Not 1 second shooting like that, though.
I mean, that was really risky. Taking a fight at that angle. Dash active, Digizine. At the back of the site here. Position not really watched for, but has to use the dash to disengage. Plant. Off now. Double satchel, it distracts. Baits and switch. Sassy's able to take the fight to him, and you can feel the confidence radiating from a player like TenZ now. So willing to just swing and take those fights.
I'd like to see Furia up the tempo. I think with a team like SEN, they are benefiting right now from having a bit of time to think and coordinate between their players. That play where Zek and double blast packs and Sassy is, waiting to swing. If Furia are forcing the issue a little bit more, playing with some more aggression, I wonder if Sentinels have the ability to coordinate those plays on the fly. With a team that doesn't have as much experience playing with this 5-person roster, that's where I would ask the questions. But Furia have not once gone for some level of, aggressive push.
Here.
They've just been relying on the Digizine op.
Yeah,
and here it is again.
Steady.
It's again the Digizine op. I mean, with how slow SEN are playing, listen, in theory, it makes sense, but got to ensure that the Digizine is in the right place at the right time. And the game plan from SEN, it's just ludicrous. It still hasn't changed. It's still that emphasis being placed all the way towards A with that first kill. It opens it up. Rocket to the side again, and second, he's good for it. No -8s in sight. He's been consistent throughout the entirety of this map.
And the first kills are all going their way, too. The players are on fire for SEN. They're playing so loose. Just a quick peek in, QCK deleted. who's having a nightmare of a performance, by the way.
Yeah.
So many situations where QCK, you know, could have got a kill or should have got a kill and didn't.
And the money is rolling. Almost max on every single player, SEN. So why not hunt for a couple of the guns? It's Furia that needs to save. Does Sassy check the corner? Not quite.
Girly here.
You think about what we were talking about with Furia previously.
My ult's ready.
These kills are of such low consequence, though.
Yeah.
You know, these are the worst type of consolation victory for Furia.
Just trying to hold on.
But think about what we were talking about previously with this Furia team. The fact that they were so good in 4v5 situations. They lose a player, it's all right. This team can still make it back. They were winning tons of those rounds. And now, in this match, Sentinels have won every single round where they get the first kill.
Yeah.
100% of their 5v4 situations converted. Because they're just getting the first pick and instantly taking a sight off it, and Furia have an op and they can't retake. And it's just game over.
Last round of this first half.
Get out of my way.
Not really any util to work with, and Digitine again opting into that operator full armor. He's got the knives. Could potentially board a gun for MW, but still going all in with it. Presence in mid now. Updraft to try and cut up the angle. Satchel as well. Really no time wasted, is it? Cleared out the site. Gotta think maybe somebody could be in B main. They're checking that one for the time being, but with the Viper's Pit drop down, this now becomes very difficult. What's the call from Furia? How do you retake this one?
The Seekers have been used very early, and MW's using them to get inside of the pit, even before the rest of his team are anywhere near.
Post the new box. Post plant positions.
Dodge the flash.
Held. It's a double flank now for B main. That's going to be the important fight to be taken here. Flash marved. Does he win the fight? Yes, he does. Pull at his feet. A re-swing, but the weapon's just not good for it. Senna winning all the gun duels. All up to Mazine.
I've got your
Spraying him down. It's a hopeful venture. But time ticking short. Seeker in his face, near-sighted. Just got to give it up. You're losing this round. It's a 9-3. Arv and Sentinels commanding such a tremendous lead.
And yeah, we've seen Furia not be that great at defense sites before, but this feels different. I mean, Sen have just come in here and decided they're making it to playoffs. They're just like, actually, guys, I think we will make it to playoffs today. This is ridiculous.
It's looking like it. It's looking like it. These guys are in control of the scenario right now. Let's send it down to Sean, who's got a telestrator to break down something in the first half.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bren. This has been insane, first of all, guys, but what Sentinels did in the early stages of this half was so impressive. They ran a slow game. So if I zoom into the mini-map right now, what you're gonna see is heavy posturing by this A site from 3 Sentinels members, right? Their goal here is to basically sniff out where DG is, try to force this Viper to come over here towards this A site, get there to be 3 people here, and then react off of that info. They're reacting off of info the entire half, pretty much. So what you're gonna see is they're gonna posture here, they're gonna chill by a ramp for a long time, and when they progress forward, you can see they flash. That gives them the info that there is someone by a ramp. And what does that mean? Well, likely when someone's by that A ramp super aggressive, it means it's the op. So when that happens, the 2 players in mid immediately start progressing up. But you can see they've stopped right where they are until DG hit that insane shot onto 10s. The second DG hits that insane shot onto 10s, watch those 2 players at male. They go up, they trade the kill at top male. And as a player, a professional player, you know now the scenario. You know what you've done. You've forced the rotate over here to A. There's 3 players here. And meanwhile, there's now 1 player left on this B site. So what does Sentinels do in that moment? Even though only 2 people are here, they're gonna pounce on the B site. Zekken comes out of heaven with the showstopper, space is created, trades the kill, and you can see he pulls out his utility right away. He knows he's safe. The round is secure at this point. But Furia fight back, and that's when we get the insane clutch coming out of Zekken to end up winning this round. You can see he's gonna actually nest in the back of the site, and he ends up hitting 2 insane shots. Wide swinging right side pillar here, catching the last. And just like that, this is how mustaches turned into eyebrows, Josh and Brandon. Back to you guys.
You know, I couldn't agree more, Sean. I could not agree more. I mean, listen, if Sentinels take away this map, Josh, how much are you sweating?
Not at all.
Not at all? Okay.
Not at all. Not at all. No, I mean, Sentinels have looked superb here. Much better than they've been performing in their game against Crew, I would say.
Yes.
You know, I felt like their ideas in that game were somewhat surface level. Here, to be honest, they've picked like one look, but it's just worked perfectly throughout the whole game. And the look is, as Sean was describing, grabbing that information and making mid-round pivots off of it, and the mid-rounding can be called by Marth or Zeket or Sassy or whoever. That's such a cool way of running their attack sides.
Right into the base of Marth. No time wasted. And MW, oh, he's taking a bit of a gander into the spawn as well. Position gain. Spike making his way over towards the site, but this is a tricky scenario.
They've heard Mazine running in spawn, by the way, too. Tens knows that there's someone here.
Look at this, a call is being made to try and double clear this, but the close corner by Mazine. They do hear it. Noted. Dash active for just a couple more seconds. There's a fight to be taken, okay. Off that noise cue, it's evened it up. 4 versus 4, updraft to try and cut the close corner. QCK has to try and put a stop onto this one. The Prowler, or at least the Boombot, I should say. Making it awfully difficult. A wider swing. Pancada offsetting it with the movement. Too damn clean. Khalil trying to hold down this side. It's evened up into the smoke. This way, that way. Sassy. Ooh, it's getting dangerous. Yet Furia lay claim to that pistol round, and maybe they can start to salvage at least a portion of this map.
Yeah, I'm not writing Furia off yet. They have been excellent in pistol rounds, won both of them in this map so far, and their attack side is normally significantly better than their defensive side. It sounds ridiculous that we should still be, you know, waiting to see who can win this map when Sentinels had a 9-3 half. But with the pistol going the way of Furia, I think at the very least, some kind of comeback could be on the horizon, fake or not. We'll have to see.
What a difference in approach as well from both of these teams that we've seen on their attack sides. I mean, see Furia really leaning into that double duelist to just explode out onto the B site, get right up into Marv's face. And Sen were going for, obviously, what we just witnessed, that really slow approach to the rounds. That's the kind of nuance that's available to you when you do run this comp on split, though. You can really take that space quite quickly, or you can opt into just making your opponent sweat.
It's a good comp for messing with the pace of things, for sure. And Fury are going to go slowly here just because they're worried about a stack. It's an anti-eco. They do not want to drop the 3 rifles that they've invested. And this is an incredibly heavy investment. Off the B pressure, QCK has gotten himself up ramp. You can hear the flash pop there. They know somebody has lurked up. Now for QCK, normally that would be a time to backpedal and make sure you don't get swarmed. And here comes that swarm potentially.
I mean, that's 4 players.
This wall can drop at any time.
Dropping down, they hear the footsteps. Tip-tap, tip-tap, flash up close. The right click's not working, but still. Util being used pound for pound. Kills. Exchange claim. That's 10 to 2, but just don't quite have the weaponry to win that. A lot of damage being done to Mazine. Second with a potential timing to be taken, but he's alone here. Dropping down, angle. Yeah, that's a double swing. So it's safe eventually. Mazine hopefully looking to reclaim one of the rifles. They did invest into 3 of them, so yeah, they get all of the rifles back into their hands, carrying that forwards now into that bonus.
Yeah, and that's really going to aid them. This bonus is going to be dangerous, and Sen would love to stop any kind of comeback right here. This, to me, coming up is the big swing round. If Furia are able to convert this, suddenly, it's on. We've got a map. No big ultimates to work with just yet. Mazine, 1 away from getting Seekers. Not likely that they would play for that at the beginning of the rounds. These orbs are not too nice for the attackers to try and pick up. Instead, going for 3 players pushing up mid. Second different challenge early, just backs up.
Yeah, nades there though. Pancada, slight angle here. Satchel to punish. Pancada's out of there though. It has to be that util. Utilized, used. Boombot, there's going to be the assist.
That'll work, I guess.
Why not? 1 for 1.
So Furia find themselves in a position where they don't quite have those 3 rifles anymore. And QCK's now got an obligation to make something happen over on A. He doesn't quite realize that the site's completely open, but he's got an inkling. Look at all of this space that he's taking.
A reposition by Sassy. Oh, he's made noise. He's made footsteps. He's running. That's going to be heard.
It's good information for QCK to relay to the rest of the team.
He's actually calling. I mean, I don't know if that's intentional by Sassy, but either way.
Oh, that flash is going to give Sentinels such bad information.
Really bad information. Sassy thought it was cleared. QCK capitalizes, rips off his head. Pride opened this site now. Full rotation coming, but TenZ could be a bit of a hero. No, Smoke's watched. What? VGZ doesn't win the fight. TenZ has been a monster thus far. Maybe he can keep this performance going. 20 seconds. Swag has to be planted. It's safe round the corner.
Planted.
Getting themselves into the post plant, but no rifle in the hands of the Jazeen. Reaction's not there to take that shot. Repositions now to the back of the site, but Util's going to start to be placed. Stun into the back, clearing the way forward. Spray down, weak enough. Single bullet will do it to Khalil. Enough of that damage was done, and Spam, oh, it becomes such a dangerous game. Potentially even just a coin flip off angle. Held for, time running short, waiting for it, and the smoke dissipates, and grabs SEN the angles.
Wonderfully played by the two controller mains there, Marth and Pancada. Back up to their own tricks. I feel like Pancada probably unleashed, in some sense, off the hard Sentinel roll. I think it's TenZ, though, that wins this round for them. TenZ's kill on Jazeen right here, I think that's a difference maker. Yeah. That's the kind of unfavored kill that brings you into a ridiculous situation.
Should not be getting that.
No, Jazeen's watching for it. He knows that that's a possibility, and he's holding the smoke. Now, nevertheless, a good bonus round for Furia. It wasn't the win that they needed to start snowballing a comeback, but they've damaged the economy somewhat. TenZ only working with the Blade Storm. And I say only, but...
Only.
Yeah.
He's been doing work, doing serious damage. All throughout this map, he's been leading the charge, he's been cutting up the corners and the crossfire setups. And still finding the value.
This looks reminiscent of the way that Sentinels were approaching their attack side.
Yeah.
And Sassy decides to invest the Trailblazer there.
As soon as the wall goes up, spamming on the angle. That's just anticipating that there was going to be an attempt to cross.
And that's great. That's something that, you know, Mazine and QCK were never doing on the other side of things.
Lovely shot returning the fire. Jazeen needed that one. Gap in the wall, though. Unfortunate. Spotting it out. Pull's going to be used now, pushing him all the way back and through. Sassy aims to take the fight once more, but the duelists are in now.
That is really bold by Sassy there.
Spike is miles away, by the way.
Yeah, they don't have the spike.
Yeah, it's miles away. It's gone. I mean,
what is going on in this round?
Seconds. It's given Sentinels a lot of time to actually now just start taking up this space. Nade into the back. Snake bite down into hell. Satchel play. Zekken moving. Did he spot him on the minimap? That's going to be the question. Still Pancada holds his ground. His bonkers is all over the place. Jazeen and QCK.
There's 15 seconds.
To the back of the side. There's no time. Yet still, racing it to Jazeen. Where's he pulling that from?
What am I watching? How's the Jazeen aced it around where Furia left a spike in spawn and Sentinel started to retake a site that had no plant on it? Okay, that was madness. That round was madness, but some of these shots are so clean from the Jazeen.
No charges left. My ult's ready.
They needed this one.
This is nasty, but even still. Listen, I mean, we won't talk about the whole macro plan falling to pieces with the spike being left behind. We can talk about the individuality, though. I mean, you could hear you laughing in the background, Josh.
I mean, that is one of the most ludicrous rounds.
Probably cackling.
Okay, so Sentinels are going to take a timeout here, a tactical that's going to allow Kaplan to talk with the rest of the squad and make sure that this comeback ends up being a fake one. So what has really been going wrong here? To be honest with you, I actually think the Sentinels played the macro side of that quite well.
Yeah.
So they're using the Trailblazer when the wall goes up to stop Furia from taking A ramp as easily. Then they spam through the wall as well. They had a double repush in mid from Zekken and Pancada. Now Zekken taking Pancada by the hand and walking down mid, clearing that area, clearing ropes. I think all of that stuff was really good. The flaws came with them not understanding the plant wasn't being committed, but that's understandable.
Yeah, with the Cosmic Divide in your face, you don't have any noise cues, sound cues. You just assume...
there's a plant going on.
There's going to be a plant going on,
but, you know, you can't anticipate the fact that Furia left a spike in spawn. And the other big problem was how Sassy faced on A. You know, when the pull came through and he realized there was a chance of killing DeJazine, he went over aggressive there. But really, not too many major mistakes. They're going to take an eco round here, Sentinels. So Furia likely to go up to 7-10.
Perfect.
And here's the issue, getting these players confidence. Because I feel like when I watch Furia, they are a very confidence-driven team. And we've seen some major whiffs from the Furia players early on in this match. If they start to get that confidence behind them, suddenly they're going to be matching the Sentinels players pound for pound. And it becomes a much more difficult game for Sentinels to get across the line.
Looking a bit more winnable. There was a call made, though, in the middle of all of that. That early A pressure and a gamble by SEN. They say, okay, well, let's maneuver. You're not getting out of there, Pancada. It was almost comical the way he was just running all the way through, but they are going to be running straight into the firing line. Weak of guns. Will it make a difference? That's the question. Shorty, 2 shots is what it takes. DeJazine, tempered. MW watching from that high ground angle, though. So, a lot of players surviving. Furia keeping it going. 7 rounds on the board. Now we get into that gun round.
And this is the one that they took a timeout for as well. So, maybe we'll see a difference in terms of the approach from SEN. They've previously been running a very straight-up setup. Really similar to the way the Loud plays things. Sassy and Tens over towards A. Second and Pancada playing mid. Marv hard anchoring the B position. So Tens is going to pick up an operator. So this is interesting. We saw DeJazine go for this a lot, and they weren't getting any value out of it, strangely enough.
Flashes exchanged here. It's hard to get value with the operator in your hands when you've got all these smokes in your face, but...
Yeah. One of the reasons why Aspas plays on site so much, if you think about the way that he tends to play things for Loud.
Scout destroyed.
Good information gathered. The dog actually giving Tens this timing. He knows nobody's pushed up close, so look at this. Dash activated.
I like this idea because he's also, even without a kill, he is informing the rotates. Pancada, go back to mid. Sassy, go back to B. And Tens just gets posted on this line.
Giving good mid-round info. And SEN are going to be aware that this is leaning towards mid, towards B, somewhere in this direction now. Trailblazer, now a showstopper as well. Ult being expended. Hoping to carve open a path. Seekers in the face of MW. No one there to break that one. Rocket slamming into him. The nade doing a lot of damage. Chipping him down, but a heal's there. And now the Seekers as well. Should be pushing them back, finding a bit of space for them to get that plant down. And indeed they do. A call's being made. Furia, they want to fight into the spawn. This is risky.
Yeah, this is
Where would you want to take this one? I mean, you could have been swung from heaven here, but no, they take control of that one with a quick up draft. That's DeJazine now up close into the smoke. Anyone's game. Cosmic Divide splitting up, and that's the reason they're playing so deep onto the site. They want to try and take the initiative away from them. SEN are just winning the duels, though. It matters not. Crossed up, Khalil. Last one standing, fully blinded, running through. Confidence is boundless right now from Sentinels. I do appreciate that foresight from Furia, recognizing they had that Cosmic Divide to split up the site. They knew they had to play forwards there at least.
Yeah, they were too late to get to it, to be honest. Whenever they were trying to get aggressive in the post plan, Sentinels already had people there. Marv does a fantastic job of anchoring the site without really doing too much. He knows there's a showstopper coming through, so he doesn't play in an advanced position where he can get caught. He just controls CT, pulls Pancada over, and the 2 controllers lock down that push into spawn. It's nicely done, nicely handled, and this has taken all of the wind out of this potential comeback.
Yeah.
DeJazine has picked up an operator on the attack side now, just determined to get value from it.
On the attack side, and there's a Viper's Pit in your face in mid. And less sightline's going to be afforded to you to get any value. I mean, maybe the goal... Try and punish some form here. MW does a double satchel forward. Zekken, he's clearing it. Run and gun works. Jiggle peek there by Marv. Smoke propped up though. Puts a dampener on things. The Furia in this 4v5. Where's the opening?
Right there.
I mean, Furia have still not committed fully to this. QCK was in sewers There's still a minute on the clock and they have an operator. They're just looking for a pick, but they can't find one. Showstopper comes back in! My goodness! It's a slaughter!
Absolute bloodbath. Second cleaning them up. One player left standing, QCK, and he's hoping just to salvage the gun, get out of there, stay alive, deny any more damage. But Sentinels off the back of that one, it's going to be earning that map point, that 12th round. It's inevitable.
It definitely is, and this has got to be gutting for the Furia players. They've just got to sit quiet, allow QCK to hear, so that he can save this weapon potentially. But running through all of their heads will be the knowledge
10 seconds
that
left.
this looks like another chance slipping away for them to control their spot and get into playoffs.
Yeah. Sassy Hunter now obviously has money to buy the next time, but you're right, Josh. I mean, just think about what the mental state is currently. Match is a must-win for Furia.
I mean, they just need a map. If they can, if Furia can win even one map, they still go through to playoffs just less than 2/3 of the time. It's like 62.5% chance if they just win a map here. And that's what this game comes down to. It's not even about really winning the entire match. It's that both teams need the map wins.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous. Sentinels have to win this one 2-0 to give themselves the best chances, and so far, so good.
There's an injection of pace. It's a double satchel. It's what the double duelist is known for on this map, but there was a pull to offset any of that. Tens perched up. The heaven angle. All's dropped down. Still watching for it, but Furia grouped up heavily. All 5 of them. They want to explode into this one. It's an all-in gambit to try and salvage around and stay in this series, but Tens a shot through the smoke is what it feels like. Mazine falls into that angle. Pankata's dealt with, though. That's going to be the 4-on-4 now.
Welcome to
the Viper's pit down as well makes this even more difficult to try and chew through if you are Sentinels. Let's see how they handle this.
Spike plant.
And Furia are able to get the plant down. Viper's pit underway too. Now this has got to be a one situation for Furia if they want any chance.
Util's used, and you can see that's a stun. Snake bite pushes it back away from elbow. Boombot clearing it close. Satchel trying to afford a capable fight. That is such a narrow angle. Pixel perfect, but second kills it with the spray down. Khalil timing. He doesn't win the fight. President Smoke gets fallen to pieces. Didazine, last one left, and doesn't stand a chance. Sentinels, they claw it away. That's a 13-7, and map 1 is theirs.
Defenders win.
Not only taking the map, Bren, but by the look of it, inflicting psychic damage upon their opponents. The manner in which these Furia players have lost that map is crushing. The whiff at the end there from Khalil.
There's just no way.
The performance from QCK earlier too. These players are having a nightmare out there. Sentinels are styling on them.
And they got to be feeling good. Smiles exiting the stage. A map win to set them straight. And leading even deeper into this series. I mean, listen, the percentage chance just keeps going up and up.
It's getting very real. Again, a reminder, if Sentinels win 2-0, if they win on Haven coming up right now, they only need NRG to clean sweep EG, and they're in. They could, by the end of today, Sentinels could be in playoffs.
But it comes down to that next map that's being played. Job's not done. Fight's not finished. Still going to make it clean. They are looking good. They are looking certainly good. That's going to do it for map number 1. Do not go anywhere. You know you're not going to want to miss what's coming up next.
He is currently unstoppable. True. He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's Ye. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.